everybody. It's Michelle Lavore and
Devin Lavore
coming at you. And we wanted to say a huge welcome to everybody. We're so glad that you're here, and we just pray that you guys are encouraged by the words that God is speaking right now at this time. And also a huge thank you to everyone who continues to give and support us. We just so appreciate all of you, and we just see
Amazing.
God's tender hand of mercy carrying us every time, every day that we receive things. So
this is for all of you guys right here.
Yay!
I love you. You're amazing. Praise Jesus. Okay, there you go. That's how we feel. That's like a little Costco sample of how we feel, right?
Yes. And we are support based, so if you would like to give to us, you can. We have a PayPal link below, and you can just click that.
Yep.
And so we'll go ahead and get started for today. I'm just really excited and encouraged for what the Lord has to share today. So,
yeah. Well,
we
already started. I think last year we gave some prophetic words, and then God kept adding to it. You know, about what 2019 was going to be like, and sure enough, it has definitely been, a year of building, and a year of planting. A lot of it's been heart stuff. But it's like there's going to be some physical planting going on as well. But the bottom line is like He kept sharing with us, oh, and then this is going to happen in 2019. Oh, and then like a week later, and then this is going to happen. So this is kind of going to be like a part 2, of our prophetic word for 2020. But it really is almost like it is a continuation of our last video. Because in our last video, we talked about 2020 being a year of running. But then the Lord, was it yesterday morning?
Yeah.
The Lord woke me up, and He started speaking to me a ton about Jubilee. And I'm like, okay, I'm definitely familiar with the concept, but I'm open to hear whatever you might have to say. And I felt like the Lord said it is going to be a year of Jubilee. And I know a lot of people will say that, and the prophetic words will come out like that and everything. And I'm just like, I'm kind of beyond that trigger point. And I'm like, awesome. Thank you. Praise the Lord. And there's a lot more that went into it that we're not going to be able to share here on the video. But it's like, it made total sense, right? Based on some of the other things that God has been speaking to us. And I just felt like the Lord said it is going to be a year of Jubilee, a year of complete and total freedom. That's why you're going to be running. And it again reminded me of that Little House on the Prairie episode where Adam got his sight, and the first thing he did is he went running. He was able to do the things that he was not able to do before. And so the Lord gave me a couple bullet points on what the year of Jubilee was going to be like, because the Lord told us that it was going to be a triple Jubilee. I'm like, what does that mean? Long story short, it's a Jubilee for the body, the soul, and the spirit. Now, got my notes here. The body is going to be about healing, health, wholeness, and functionality. That was the word that God gave me. I was like, what do you mean functionality? It was like there are certain things in your body that are not functioning the way they should function. And it's like there's going to be healing. There's going to be a freedom from long-term afflictions. That's what he told me. Because I've got some physical long-term afflictions that we just kind of live with, right? It's just like, well, especially if I start working out and I start eating healthy and working out, I get this flare-up, so to speak. And it's always there, and I just always have to deal with it. And it has been with me for a long time. And so I just felt like the Lord was like, coming into this year, there's going to be a healing of those things. And then also, I felt like the Lord was saying, it's in the soul. What's the Jubilee of the soul going to look like? Well, there's freedom from wounds and afflictions of the past that have scarred the heart. And some of those are long-term afflictions as well. Past disappointments, past, well, Lord, I thought this was going to happen and it didn't happen. Those kind of things. There could be a whole laundry list of things that fit that. But basically, there's a part of your heart, it's scarred over. And now scar tissue is hard. It's callous. And it's like God's going to be touching some areas of the heart, of people's heart. It's going to be just Jubilee, complete freedom. He whom the Son sets free is free indeed. And when the Lord puts his hand on it, I don't care how charred, black, burnt, scarred that part of your heart is, it'll be like Naaman's skin when he came up that 7th time. It's going to be like fresh, brand new heart, fresh, brand new, tender area that's no longer attached to the pain of that past affliction, whatever that was from the past that afflicted us. Spirit Jubilee. What is that going to be like for our spirit? Well, I felt like the Lord said it's going to be opened eyes to see the heart of God without confusion. And there's going to be clarity, clear understanding, light, kind of like when a person is able to see. Now, when you're blind, you can be led around. You can feel something. Oh, that's a pillow. Oh, that's a chair. Or you know what I mean. You can get some. But a lot of times with the Lord, that's what it's like.
Yeah.
We're blind and we're just like, well, Lord, what are you saying here? I'm not seeing it. I'm not understanding it. I'm not getting what you're saying. You know me. I'm a disciple. I don't get it, even if you explain it to me straight up. You know. You know what I mean? How many times did the disciples? Jesus was like, listen. He had to say stuff like, listen, Lazarus is dead. We're going to go.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm confused. I thought you said he wasn't going to die. And so, but the Lord's like, this Jubilee of the Spirit that's coming is going to bring complete clarity to his voice and hearing the Lord. And see, because I think a lot of times the scars of the heart alter and mess up and can kind of confuse what the Lord's saying. I was prophesying to my family this morning, and the thing of it is, wait, hold on, let me see. You guys remember this little chart? Do you remember that little chart we did? Where's the focus? Is it in focus?
I don't know.
Anyway, there's the spirit, soul, and body, right? Well, the problem is, when you hear something in the spirit, it filters through your soul. Your soul is kind of like an audience member going, whoa, look at this communication coming down from heaven. And your soul looks at it and it's trying to figure it out. Your soul looks at what God's saying and it what does it do? What's the soul do? It produces questions. It's like, well, how's that possible? Well, how's that going to happen?
Yeah.
He's gonna be a Nazarene. He's going to be born in Bethlehem and he's going to be called out of Egypt. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. That can't be the Lord. And the Lord makes sense. You know what I mean? But it's like when you begin to flow in the Spirit, you begin to just say things and prophesy things and share things that are just like your own soul. The person prophesying and communicating and being the mailman of God is going, what? That how is that possible? What's going on?
Yeah.
And if you have scarred areas, it's really, I don't know, it can be it can be just difficulty there. It can create confusion. It can create a kind of a messiness because you can't let go of your desire to understand it.
Yeah.
You must have answers for this part and that part of the prophecy. And if you don't, it's just going to consume your whole life and it gets all messed up and everything. And so it can become a literal spiritual affliction, you know? So it's like, because we are body, soul, and spirit. That's what makes Michelle who she is. You know, body, soul, spirit, you know what I mean? And so when there's a jubilee of the body, the soul, and the spirit, I believe there's going to be an experience of the revealing of the sons of God in that respect. The birth of it, maybe in the next 10 years, that's what's going to happen as a result of it or whatever. But about part of this is, I felt like the Lord said there will be a birthing into a jubilee, but then there will have to be a growth and a maturing in these things. You know, it's like I can be completely healed of my physical issues, shoulders, knees, other flare-ups, but after that's completely healed, well, I don't have six-pack just yet. You know what I'm saying? I still have to work at it. And then there can be other things of the soul that God's completely healed your heart of certain things. maybe some past trauma or something, but now you got to go back into that area that you were traumatized and learn how to re-engage with that area without the trauma being there, and then begin to grow in a healthy way in that area. A lot of times for people, that's church relationships or anything. It can be another laundry list of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just felt like that's what the Lord was sharing with me, as far as like, there's going to be a jubilee, a jubilee of jubilees, a triple jubilee, body, soul, and spirit, complete freedom for my people and there's going to be a birthing of the body of Christ. And that's why we're going to be running. We're just going to be so excited because the power of the Lord has shown up in resurrection form and just done amazing things. And now we got to walk in this new way of the prosperity of our body, soul, and spirit, and not turn to the left and to the right and go off and serve other gods, that kind of Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14 thing. And it's just like, so there's going to be a birthing, but then there's also going to be a time of growing. But the reason we're going to be running is because the Jubilee is actually going to happen. And it's not going to be just a prophetic word. We're going to really experience it and see it. And we're going to be like, woohoo, I'm so excited. But we're going to stay submitted to the Lord in the process.
Yeah. And so kind of going with that, we were talking about like the running. And today we were, again, the Lord, he's been also speaking release to our family. Last week was definitely restoration. That was like the word, I believe, for just that God was really speaking. But this week it seems to be just release. And so I was reminded this morning, our son was just sharing something that he received from the Lord during worship time, but it reminded me of Hebrews 12, 1 through 2, and of running with the Lord, and all those hindrances were coming off. Yeah. And that's part of the Jubilee. The Jubilee is setting us free, having those chains, having anything that, sin that entangles you, or ways of thinking that can entangle us, ways that, like, certain behavior patterns that maybe I just always grew up doing things this way. And it's like, well, it's not a healthy way to handle those things. So the Lord's like,
that's just who I am.
Yeah. It's like, I'm going to set you free from those so you can run. And so it was just like, yes, Jesus, that's what the Lord is talking about. He's talking about release, which is what Jubilee is all about. You can read it in Leviticus 25, basically the whole chapter is all about Jubilee. And
that's where I was all yesterday morning.
Yeah. Like, and wow. Again, it's tied in with the sevens. And, it's basically after 49 years, that 50th year is Jubilee, which is 7 cycles of 7. And so, the Lord, he does things with with like the cycles and things that he brings his people through. But ultimately, it was just like, that's what the Lord is talking about. He's like, you're going to be running because there is going to be a setting free. It says in Hebrews that it's a weight, that the sin, it's a weight. It's cumbersome. It entangles you.
It's an unnecessary weight, the Amplified says.
You can't, if you're weighted down, it's going to be really hard to run. If you're really weighted down, you probably are going to have even a hard time walking, and the Lord's like, I'm coming in and I'm going to release all these weights. And it was really interesting too, because I was reminded, I don't know how long ago it was, within probably the last month, but there was a video we made, and during the video I was praying, and I was seeing like a race, like a running race, and in it I could see that we were just like, there was this line basically that once we crossed it, it was like all the things that had weighed us down, just the old, like that weariness, the tiredness, it was all gone. Yeah. And coming and breaking through that, it was like, then there was just the sounds of heaven cheering us on, and we were clothed in like royal apparel, and we kept running. When we finished the race, we were actually stronger and looked amazing. Like, and it's like, that's really what I think the Lord is talking about and doing. He's like, you're going to be running, and when you finish, you're going to be so strong, and just
wow.
your whole body is going to just be the whole of you, the outside, the inside, body, soul, and spirit is going to be just thriving, truly thriving with the Lord. And because that's what I just saw, like, at the end of the race. I mean, everybody, they were like muscular, strong. Like,
but we crossed that line before we got to the end,
yes,
right?
Yes, before the finish line.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a separation between the past stuff, and we're going to finish this last little bit of the race.
Yeah, and it was just...
I think literally that's the week we're in right now. No, seriously. With all the 41s I've been seeing, it's like there's a separation between the past and what's ahead.
And God's been talking a lot about the past and what's like.
And the Lord gave us that word about 3 times stronger.
Yes.
We're going to be 3 times stronger. 3 times stronger. Body, soul, spirit, 3 times.
Yeah. So I was just reminded of that today, of just like, oh yes, like that is what the Lord is talking about, to be able to run, to be able to go, and just have the strength of the Lord with us, and those things that used to weigh us down and used to just, get us down.
Yeah.
It's like God's like, no, I'm freeing you from that. And I just know personally, for me, like, since yesterday, I mean, today's only Monday, but but it was just like we received the word about release on Saturday evening, and it was almost immediately like God started. He's been releasing it, and for me, I'm just like, wow, God has released me from some things that I have just been struggling with and dealing with and growing in, but for ever.
You've crossed a line.
I did.
You
and
really
it was
have.
Like I came to this point where it was just like, all right, we're over. And now, like, God just like, all right, this is the new way to walk. And that's really where that maturity and the growth comes in, because it's like, okay, we've passed this. You're saying goodbye to the past, but now let's move forward in the future and continue to take steps in this direction of like seen it. I guess for me personally, that I really feel like a perfect example of things is, it just has to do with how I handle triggers in my heart. A lot of times I go inward, and I was like, you know what? It's a very defensive move. It's like you're on the defense, and
your Iron Man armor comes on. Chink, 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 chink. You got your pulse reactors out. You're ready.
But it's a very defensive move in the sense like you're trying to just keep from losing too much ground. And I feel like God's like, I've actually put you now. I'm in an offensive move place where it's like, instead of losing ground, I'm actually going to take ground. Because I see it's like, here's this opportunity that's come up, maybe my heart gets triggered, but instead of being like, okay, I'm just trying to keep from like crumbling underneath it, it's like, oh, I see you. You're an opportunity for me to move forward in the spirit, for me to move forward and take more land, take more ground in my heart. And so it's like, for me personally, it's just been like, wow, this is amazing. I'm truly just so blessed by the Lord.
And this is real fruit happening.
Yeah.
This is real stuff.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Girl, I'm about to run on this video about Jubilee and running. Because for real. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, so I just felt like that's kind of what the Lord was showing me. Because he's like, you've been on defense, and you really have just been,
trying to keep from dying.
Trying to keep from dying. Just trying to react the best that I can, and instead of being on offense,
trying to survive.
So even when it comes towards me, there's things that are going to come and hit your heart. They just are. But instead it's like, oh, that hit my heart. Okay, now I know a different way to go about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, all right, let me just share with the Lord what's going on in my heart. Let's hear from him. Oh, I'm going to open up to, you know, Devin, or I'm going to start speaking out like what is actually going on inside, and the results are totally different. And there's breakthrough and there's movement. And so I'm like, that's the release of the Lord. He's saying, yes, I'm releasing you from that. That's not going to be something that you don't have to go on defense anymore. You know how to be on offense.
That's a great example of the Jubilee of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a little Costco sample
Yes.
of what to look forward to.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yeah.
Super awesome.
Super awesome. So that's really what I had to share, and I think what we have to share for today is just God is speaking release, he is speaking Jubilee, and he is speaking that we are going to be running. We're going to be running with him.
Be running.
Yes. We're going to be running with the Lord, with his heart, with his spirit, and just in freedom. And that's,
body, soul, and spirit.
Yeah. Triple Jubilee. Triple Jubilee. So we just pray that you guys are encouraged with that, and
take it and run with it.
Exactly. Oh, too funny. So so guys, we just love and appreciate all of you, and until next time, we will see you
Bye
later.
guys.
Bye.
See you later.